Wheels are chocked on appropriate side of dry tire to prevent vehicle movement. I should have 3 reflective emergency triangles, spare bulbs, and fuses. Fire extinguisher is securely mounted, properly rated, fully charged. The seat belt has no fraying or rips, and it fastens and unfastens properly. Please buckle your seatbelt. The windshield is clean, there is nothing obstructing my view, and the mirrors are properly adjusted. As I turn the key to the on position, the ABS light comes on and it goes off. This is indicating that the ABS system is working properly. I'm going to perform a safe start with the gear in neutral as I start the engine. The windshield wipers and washers are working properly. The dash lights, my indicator lights, left turn signal, right turn signal, and 4-way emergency flashers, the high beam headlight indicator and DEF indicator lights are all working properly. I'm going to check my city horn and my air horn for proper operation. I'm going to show that the cab heater and windshield defroster are working properly. My oil pressure gauge is between 30 and 75 psi. Coolant temperature gauge should be between 160 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit. My voltage gauge should be between 12 and 14 volts. Air pressure gauges should be between 100 and 140 psi. Now I am about to do my tractor parking brake check. I'm going to push in the red air supply valve, and I am going to make note that the wheel chock position is still under the tractor. I'm going to slowly engage the gas and resistance is felt. I'm going to pull out the red trailer air supply valve. Now I'm going to test my trailer spring brake. I'm going to push in the yellow parking brake valve. I'm going to make note that the wheel chuck is still under the tractor. I'm going to slowly engage the clutch until resistance is felt. Now I'm going to pull out the yellow parking brake. Now I'm going to drive the truck ahead at about 5 miles per hour and apply the service brake pedal. The vehicle should stop and not pull to one side or the other. Now I am going to begin the air brake leak test. I'm going to check that the air pressure reads at 100 psi on both gauges. Now I'm going to turn off the engine and I'm going to put the key to the on position. I'm going to push in the yellow parking brake and red trailer air supply valve and allow air pressure to stabilize. After initial air loss from applying the service brake pedal, this combination vehicle should not lose more than 4 psi in 1 minute. I'm going to apply firm pressure to the service brake to allow air pressure to stabilize. Please begin a 1-minute timer. This combination vehicle did not lose more than 4 psi in 1 minute. I'm now going to begin my low air pressure warning device test. I'm going to begin to fan the brakes rapidly. At about 60 psi, the low air pressure warning device should activate. The low air pressure warning light and buzzer are working properly. Now I'm going to test the tractor protection valve operation. I'm going to continue to fan the brakes at about 30 psi. Tractor parking brake and trailer air supply valves should pop out. Both valves popped out, indicating that the dash valve is working properly. I'm going to exit the vehicle and go to the front of the tractor. Make sure to take the key out of the ignition as you do this. At the front of the tractor, all lights are securely mounted, not damaged, clean, and proper color. My ID, clearance, and signal lights are amber. My headlights are clear. Windshield is securely mounted, clean, not cracked, and there's no outdated stickers. Wiper arms and blades are securely mounted and not damaged with proper tension against the windshield. Blades are not cracked or frayed. All mirrors and brackets are securely mounted, not damaged, and mirrors are all clean. I'm going to check under the vehicle for leaks and puddles from the engine and transmission area. I'm going to open the hood of the vehicle and go to the passenger side. All hoses in the engine compartment are securely mounted, not damaged, cracked, frayed, or leaking. The exhaust system is securely mounted, no leaks, holes, or excessive soot visible at the joint. The coolant reservoir is securely mounted, not damaged, cracked, or leaking. Fluid is at a proper level. I'm not going to open up the cap unless the engine is cool. Alternator is securely mounted, not damaged, and belt driven. All wires are connected and not damaged. The water pump is securely mounted and not damaged or leaking. It is also belt driven. All belts are securely mounted, not damaged, cracked, or frayed. Proper tension is no more than 1/4 inch of play at center of belt. Oil fill tube and dipstick tube are securely mounted and not damaged or leaking. Pull dipstick out, wipe clean, reinsert, pull out, and check oil level. If below proper oil level, add oil through fill tube. Air compressor is securely mounted and not damaged, cracked, or leaking. it is gear driven. All hoses would be inspected like they were on the passenger side and are securely mounted, not damaged, cracked, frayed, or leaking. Frame rail and cross members are securely mounted with no cracks and no illegal holes or welts. Power steering pump is securely mounted and not damaged, cracked, or leaking. It is gear driven. Power steering fluid reservoir is securely mounted and not damaged or leaking, and the fluid is at a proper level. The steering gearbox is securely mounted and not damaged or leaking. The power steering hoses are all securely mounted and not cracked, frayed, or leaking. Steering linkage, which includes the steering shaft, the pitman arm, the drag link, and tie rod. All of these parts are securely mounted, not worn, cracked, or loose. They are not missing any nuts, bolts, or cotter keys. The front and rear spring mounts are securely mounted and not damaged or cracked. Spring leaves are securely mounted and not cracked, shifted, or missing. U-bolts are securely mounted to the axle and not damaged or cracked. The shock absorber is securely mounted and not damaged or leaking. Brake hoses are securely mounted and not cracked, frayed, or leaking. Brake chamber is securely mounted and not damaged, cracked, or leaking. Push rod is securely mounted and not damaged. There should be no more than 1 inch of play when brakes are released. Slack adjuster is securely mounted, not damaged or worn. No loose or missing clevis pins or cotter keys. Push rod and slack adjuster should make a 90-degree angle when brakes are applied. Brake lining is securely mounted, not cracked or worn dangerously thin, and the brake drum is securely mounted, not cracked, and free of oil. Note, the brake lining and brake drum are on the inside of the tire. The examiner may ask you to turn the driver's side tire all the way to the left in order for them to see you point out the brake lining and brake drum. Now I'm going to do the ICD inspection, which stands for inflation, condition, and depth. For inflation, I would check with pressure gauge for proper inflation, which should be about 100 psi. For condition, inner and outer sidewalls have no cuts, bulges, or divots. Tread is worn evenly and cannot be recapped. Tread depth should be at 4/32. Rim is securely mounted and not damaged or cracked, no weld repairs. Valve stem and cap are securely mounted and not damaged or leaking. Lug nuts are securely mounted, all present and without rust trails that could indicate looseness. The hub oil seal is securely mounted and not damaged or leaking. Fluid is at proper level. Now on the side of the tractor, the turn signal light is securely mounted, not damaged, clean, and amber in color. Door and hinges are securely mounted and not damaged or loose. Door should open and close properly. Door seal is securely mounted and not damaged, missing, cracked, or frayed. Fuel tank and cap, DEF tank and cap, are all securely mounted, not damaged, cracked, or leaking. All steps and catwalk are securely mounted, not damaged, and free of debris. Drive shaft and U-joints are securely mounted, not cracked or bent. Tractor frame will be inspected like it was up front. The service blue and emergency red air lines are securely mounted at the back of the cab and securely coupled to the front of the trailer by glad hands. Both air lines are not cracked, frayed, or leaking. Electrical line is properly inserted into the back of the cab and the front of the trailer. It is not damaged, cracked, or frayed. All lines, air and electrical, are not tangled, kinked, or dragging against the catwalk. Clearance lights on top of trailer and lights on the side of trailer are clean, securely mounted, not damaged, cracked, or missing. They are amber on the side and front top, red at the rear. The header board and side of trailer are securely mounted with no crack, bulges, or holes and is able to hold the load. The DOT reflectors are securely mounted, not damaged, clean, and proper color. Long members, cross members, and floorboards are securely mounted and are not damaged or cracked and are able to support the load. Mounting bolts are all securely mounted and not missing. Platform is securely mounted to the tractor frame and not damaged or cracked. Skid plate is securely mounted to the platform and not damaged or cracked. It isn't missing any pins and is properly lubricated. There is no gap between the skid plate and apron. Apron is securely mounted to the bottom of the trailer and is not damaged or cracked. Kingpin is securely mounted to the apron and is not bent. Locking jaws are securely enclosed around the kingpin. Release arm is securely mounted, not damaged, and in the fully engaged position. Fifth wheel is positioned properly so the back of the tractor will clear the landing gear during turns. Front and rear spring mounts, spring leaves, U-bolts, and shock absorbers will be inspected the same as the steer axle. Airbag mount is securely mounted and not damaged or missing any bolt. Airbag is securely mounted and not cracked, frayed, or leaking. Brake hoses, brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster, brake lining, brake drum will all be inspected the same as the steer axle. Drive tires will be inspected the same as the steer axle with these exceptions. These drive tires can be radial or bias ply, but never mismatched on the same axle. Drive tires can be recapped. Tread depth is at least 2 inches 30 seconds. Tire spacing is free of debris and tires are not rubbing. Hub axle seal is securely mounted and not damaged, cracked, or leaking. Splash guard is securely mounted, not damaged, and not dragging. Tail lights are securely mounted and not cracked. They are clean and red in color. Reverse light is clear. The DOT reflectors are securely mounted and clean and proper color. The landing gear is fully raised. The support frame and landing pads are securely mounted and not damaged or missing any part. Crank handle is securely stowed. The tandem release arm and pins are securely mounted, not damaged, and are in the engaged position. The door tie back is securely mounted and not damaged or missing. Front and rear spring mounts, spring leaves, and U-bolts will be inspected the same as the drive axle. Torque rod is securely mounted and not damaged or cracked. Brake hoses, brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster, brake lining, brake drums, and spacing will be inspected the same as on the drive axle. Tires, spacing, rims, lug nuts, valve stem and cap, and splash guard will be inspected the same as on the drive axle. Hub oil seal will be inspected the same as on the steer axle. Door panels, hinges, and latches are all securely mounted and not damaged, cracked, or missing any part. The doors should open, close, and latch securely. Door tie back is securely mounted and not damaged or missing. All lights, such as clearance, ID, brakes, turn signal, are securely mounted, not cracked, and clean, and red in color. The ABS light is amber. DOT reflectors are securely mounted and clean and proper color. Note that for the rear of trailer, I will need to ask the examiner to be my eyes as I go up front to the tractor to work the different turn signals and brake light. After this is complete, ask examiner, how much time do I have left?